What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Wi-Fi battle. Today I have a really fun match for you. If you guys enjoy this type of content, remember to hit that like button. It really does help out the channel and it only takes you a second. Also, remember to subscribe if you aren't already. Something like 40% of my viewers are subscribed, so consider hitting that sub button. And now I'm done saying my YouTuber stuff. Anyway, today we've got a really interesting match where from the team preview you're noticing that damn, is this not looking good for me. Opponent is working with pretty much every top tier threat. They've got both Latios and Latias, Scizor, Heatran, Clefable, and Rotom Wash. So very much all kind of the top overused Pokemon. I'm using a very random team of never used Pokemon, just full of some stuff that I kind of wanted to see if I could get to work. So it's always going to be an uphill fight, but I'm down for the challenge. Anyway, they're going to lead off with their shiny Scizor, because everybody got to rock that baby puke green Scizor, as I toss out the Rotom Fan. So I go with the old air, but his name's Air Balloon because that item actually doesn't exist in this game, unfortunately, so I gotta just give him the nickname anyway. It's always funny to have that, triple resistance to ground if it was carrying an Air Balloon. Anyway, turn one, I'm thinking, I'm gonna try to neutralize this threat as early as possible. I go right for the Will-O-Wisp. And I'm able to kind of cripple that Scizor, which is definitely going to help me out in the long run. Unfortunately, this Rotom is actually choice specs, so I changed up the items on this thing. I decided I want to rock specs, but now I'm locked into, Will-O-Wisp, and that's not going to get me too far, as they end up bringing in a Latios. Now, everybody knows how scary Latios is. This thing can definitely poke some holes in my team, and then the worst part is they also have a Latias in the back, so it's like I deal with this, and then I have this dude's sister to take care of. So I decided to go into nudes. I'm like, you know what, might as well just send this guy some nudes. So I bring out the old Shuckle, who actually takes that Draco Meter pretty damn nicely there. Nudes out here really is the MVP, and I'm trying to emphasize the fact that I need to get up my Stealth Rock here. So I'm just gonna go for that as they end up actually switching into their Heatran. So evil, angry lava frog versus just a chill turtle. He's, I'm having a good time, and Heatran over there is kind of harshing my vibes a little bit. I get up the Stealth Rock, which is nice. That's going to kind of punish some switches a little bit and make my team that much closer to being able to knock things out, depending on how many times they switch. So I'm thinking I probably shouldn't go for Sticky Web here, just because of the fact that looking at their team, not a lot gets affected by it, unfortunately. So I actually expect them to just set up their own Stealth Rock here. So I decided to stay in and go for a knockoff, just to kind of get a little bit of intel on what this Heatran's about, plus, just kind of see, what it's working with there. But it actually gets me with a Magma Storm, as I just say, hey, knock it off, man. Hit him with my noodles, and able to get rid of that thing's leftovers. But now the bad part is I'm actually stuck here because of that Magma. So that's actually wildly unfortunate. There's really nothing I can do at this point. I can't switch out. I'm just going to go right for another knockoff, hoping maybe they end up switching and I can get another knockoff, which would be great. But they end up going for a taunt, so I just go for another knockoff, which, basically heals this Heatran. He hardly feels that, as Noodles is kind of getting hacked over here. I've already eaten my berry, and at this amount of HP, there's really not much that Shuckle would be able to do, even if I was able to switch out, so it's kind of in my best interest to get Shuckle taken care of. I'm able to now get a free switch in to whatever I want, but losing Shuckle really sucks because now that kind of limits switch-ins I have to things. Shuckle on this team does really well in being able to switch into things that others do not. So now I decide to bring in the Kecleon, the absolute beast, the motherfucking threat. Kecleon is such a fun Pokemon to use, and the good part is I feel like not a lot of people know what this thing's gonna be hiding under his sleeve. So I'm going to go for a power-up punch here. I know that there's a Clefable on their squad, but I don't know if they know what this Kecleon's going to be working with, so maybe I could get a little bit of setup here and start to do some stuff to this squad. So I go for the power-up punch as they actually hit me with another Magma Storm. Is able to hit 2 in a row, which is kind of annoying, but really not too big of a deal, as I actually take that rather nicely. Plus, my next play here is Drain Punch to knock this thing out, so that actually ends up healing me quite a bit if I'm able to land that on the Heatran. So I am going to go for the Drain Punch here. I don't want to get super greedy with the power-up punches because they do have fast Pokemon, they're threats. But they actually end up switching into the Latios here. Now, Latios takes a little bit of Stealth Rock damage. I also punch him right in the face, and actually get a big chunk with that. With the leftover recovery and the Drain Punch, Kecleon's looking, not too bad over here. And it's actually kind of important for this matchup. Kecleon, you know, kind of puts in some work for me here. So now I'm thinking, all right, they're definitely just going to try to drop a Draco on my ass. So I'm going to go right for the Sucker Punch here, which they're probably not going to expect. And you guessed it, I Sucker Punch him right in the chin, and that is a dead Latios. So I'm able to take care of pretty much the worst offensive threat they have on their squad, for me at least. And that is amazing. Kecleon out here eating his leftovers, honestly just chilling, eating his apple after taking care of a legendary. And boy, am I proud of my guy over here. So now they decide to bring in the Clefable. Now, fairy types are kind of like the opposite of what Kecleon likes, because no matter what I do, I turn myself into a type that is weak to fairy. Plus, obviously, with just one attack boost, I can't touch this chewed piece of gum ass Clefable. So I definitely do not want to stay in here, obviously. But looking at the remainder of my Pokemon, I don't really have much that can switch in to really anything. I decided to go into the Dodrio here. Just because I know I can take one attack, and my main objective is to pretty much weaken this Clefable to the point where I can take it out later. Now, Clefable is one of the Pokemon that my team really is not prepared for. So if I can whittle this thing down, get some chip, I can make it a little easier on myself later. So they go for the Moonblast there. Of course, that does over half to me, and that, you know, is unfortunate. But what I can do is just go right for a Brave Bird here. I'm Life Orb. And a nice little stab Brave Bird is going to do a solid chunk to this Clefable, make it definitely a little easier to take care of. I would have hoped for a little more damage, but look at this fat asshole over here. There's no way you're doing any damage to this thing. So I actually feint to the Life Orb, and luckily they just go for the Moonblast there. I know Clefables generally to rock some reliable recovery, you know, whether it's like Wish or Soft Boiled or Moonlight or whatever the hell these things do. Anyway, now I'm able to get a free switch in, and Krakatoa, the legend, comes in. I'm thinking, all right, Interruption kills at this range for sure, but I also know that they have a Heatran on their squad, so I'm expecting the switch into the Heatran, and predicting that, I go for the Focus Blast. He brings it in, and I'm like, thank God, at this range, Focus Blast kills, but Focus Blast has forsaken me once again. Honestly, what the fuck, Focus Blast? If there was any time to not miss, that was pretty much it. Listen, throw me a bone here, Game Freak, Jesus Christ. But I just go for it again here, as they actually end up switching in the Latias, obviously knowing that a Focus Blast was going to come and rain on that Heatran's Parade, and then I miss another Focus Blast. So I'm just really paying my dues over here. We don't call it Focus Miss for no reason. So that really sucks. I could have very much used that momentum taking out the Heatran there, but you know, that's kind of the fucking way she goes, and you gotta play around that sometimes. So I'm gonna decide to switch into the Rotom Fan here against this Latias. Now what's good is that they don't have their own hazards up. They end up going for the Defog there, and they do get rid of my Stealth Rock, plus my Shuckle is dead, so there's not going to be any rocks on the field, and that really is kind of annoying. But now I've got a decision to make. I am Choice Spec, so I'm going to lock myself into an attack here. I truly don't know if the Latias wants to stay in here. I'm just going to end up deciding to go for the Shadow Ball, because no matter what, I think it hits everything for enough damage, neutral damage at least, as they actually end up going for the Tailwind. So the support Tailwind Latias, now they're going to be super speedy, and I'm sitting over here kind of afraid. I go for the Shadow Ball. I get some pretty big damage with this Def Drop, which obviously doesn't matter, but they actually end up staying in, and they go for the Reflect. Now, that's actually better for me. Had it been Light Screen, I would have been a little more worried, but they go for the Reflect probably because they're afraid of my Kecleon, which is kind of funny. So I end up taking care of the Latias, and now I've got brother and sister both knocked out. I got Latios and Latias dead. And things are looking decent. They have a Reflect and a Tailwind up, so I'm kind of, you know, playing from behind a bit here. But they decide to go into my brother, the the Rotom Wash, the much more popular Rotom form. But since I'm unconventional, I'm out here with the fan version, with both Levitate and the Flying type. You cannot touch me with an Earthquake. So he ends up going for a Thunderbolt here. I know I can live pretty much any attack this thing goes for, so I decide to just stay in. Considering I don't really have much that wants to switch in here, I just go for the Shadow Ball, and I'm able to get, you know, a solid chunk. Would hope for a little bit more, but this washing machine's about bulky as shit. Called that a heavy load cycle, boy. Anyway, Rotom Fan doesn't look very useful for me in the rest of this match, so I decided to just stay in. He actually ends up going for the Hydro Pump. Risky maneuver, because he could have missed that. Regardless, if he had gone for Thunderbolt, I would have gotten some more damage. But I was able to at least get a little bit of chunk damage off on the Rotom, and now I get a free switch into whatever I would like. And the Tailwind actually goes away, which is perfect. So, I mean, honestly, not that big of a deal because they're faster than everything anyway. But I decided to go into Reginald, the legend, the man, the mushroom, the legend. If you guys remember Reginald from the Snakewood Nuzlocke, you're the GOAT. Anyway, I'm going to go for a Spore here, as he actually ends up going for a Will-O-Wisp. He sees the Parasect, and he's like, I've played Legends Arceus. I know that these things are dicks, and they're going to hurt, so he burns me. And that really kind of sucks. So a burnt Parasect is not going to be able to do too much, but what I can do is make this thing trip out so hard that it falls asleep. I hit him with the Spore, and that is amazing. If there's one thing that Parasect has going for it, it's that 100% accuracy Spore, and you just love to see it. So, thinking about my win condition here, I decided to go into the Kecleon. Now, my plan for this is essentially to try to boost up Kecleon as much as possible. I know that if I'm able to get to around +3, a Sucker Punch might knock out the Clefable at the range that it's at. Now, it's a little bit below half. I think it's sitting at about 40%. So I'm really trying to kind of plan ahead here. Now, if I can get some power-up punches to at least +3, I know I can do around 40% to a Clefable, and Kecleon. I basically got a Kecleon in a dream over here, man. I don't know. This guy's team is scary, and I'm just essentially trying my best. But they go into the Scizor, and I'm thinking, should I switch directly into Reginald to sack it so that I can get a free switch into the Typhlosion? And I'm thinking, yeah, that actually sounds like a pretty solid idea here. So, a burnt Parasect really is not going to do great for me. Homeboy's not going to be able to, like, X-Scissor his way out of a wet paper bag. So I bring this thing in on a Brick Break. Surprisingly, it goes for the Brick Break, and it's like the first time ever Parasect has taken that little damage, from anything. Guys, 4 times a week to every type in existence, but kind of unfortunate. I honestly would have preferred that to just knock me out. Parasect obviously has nothing to do to this Scizor here. I can click X-Scissor, but like I said, I'm burnt and just basically worthless as they end up going for the U-turn there. So, conserve the Scizor for later, but honestly, as long as I have Typhlosion in the back, I'm looking good. I'm looking nice over here. So, they bring in the Heatran. Heatran might be literally like the scariest Pokemon if you're a Parasect. So, X-Scissor does, of course, negative damage, but that's fine. I really just need Parasect to die so that I can get a free switch in. And this is actually better for me as a position than I was before, because then I can bring in Kecleon against the Heatran and don't have to deal with Scizor until it comes in after I've got some attack boost. So, it does take care of the Parasect. I was at least able to put the Rotom Wash to sleep, which is kind of nice, but RIP Parasect. So, now I get a free switch. I'm down to Typhlosion and Kecleon. They are working with the Rotom, Heatran, Scizor, and Clefable. So it's looking, pretty scary, but it can be done. I have win conditions here, boys. I'm going to go for the power-up punch here. I know that I can take an attack from this thing. It does go for the Flash Cannon and does hit. That's probably their highest damage output there. But look at that. Kecleon just out here tanking that damage like nobody's business. And then I go for the power-up punch, which does take care of the Heatran. Now, it was really kind of an interesting play there. I wanted to go for the Drain Punch to get health back, but I know that if Kecleon wants to make anything else happen, it's just going to need to have those boosts. But at least after leftover recovery, I'm sitting at about half, and this is nice. They end up going into the Rotom rather than the Clefable, which actually helps me out greatly. So, Sleeping Rotom is kind of the perfect target to just power-up punch the shit out of. He basically just a punching bag over here that I'm just out here just destroying. So I go for another power-up punch. Now I'm sitting at +2 attack, and it's actually kind of coming together here for old Kecleon. Rotom is, sitting above half health, but as long as it continues to stay asleep, I can actually make some stuff happen, even get some health back with a Drain Punch here. So I'm really considering, I know I need one more power-up punch to be able to be a threat against the rest of their team. So it's kind of risky, because if he does wake up, a Hydro Pump does a lot of damage, but he actually ends up staying asleep. I go for another power-up punch here, and Kecleon is out here just doing it to him. It doesn't end up taking care of the Rotom, which actually kind of sucks. Had that killed, that would have put me in a mighty fine position, but actually it doesn't really matter, because if I do want to ensure that this thing dies before it wakes up, I do have the priority with both Sucker Punch and the Shadow Sneak. So what I actually end up doing here is just going for another power-up punch. Reason being is that I know that I can probably live one attack from this thing anyway if it wakes up. And plus, I really just need all the help I can get with attack boosts. So they actually end up switching out the Rotom. So basically just out here giving me free boosts. But then they figure out that Clefable is kind of a hard counter to this Lizard. So I go for the Power-Up Punch. Able to do like, 3 HP damage to the guy. But I do get another attack boost there. So at this point, I'm really hoping and praying that this Clefable wants to go for the attacking move. Unfortunately, they have already seen Kecleon's trick with the Sucker Punch. I was able to take care of the Latios earlier, so they have that intel. But I really just need to go for it. If I can land it, we're in great position. I go for the Sucker Punch, and Clefable is the biggest McAsshole in the entire universe and goes for the Wish. Honestly, there's very few Pokemon I hate fighting less than a Clefable, especially when I'm using an NU team. But it gets the Wish up, and that is really kind of a heartbreaker. But there is still a way to win this. If I can get some chip with Kecleon, Typhlosion can definitely make some stuff happen, considering that the Rotom Wash is whittled down and still asleep. So I go for the Moonblast here. Super effective damage. I am able to live, which is kind of nice. I actually went for the Power-Up Punch here. I probably should have gone for Drain Punch for just like a little bit more damage, but really not going to make too much of a difference. Even if the Clefable ends this matchup at full health, Typhlosion actually tanks any hits that it can throw at me, and I think 2-hit kills with the Eruption. So that's now my new game plan. I'm thinking, Typhlosion, you are my dude right now, and we can really do it against this OU team. So Kecleon, I'm just gonna go for a Shadow Sneak here to just try to, I guess, just get a little bit more damage before I go down. But planning this out of my head, I think this can work. So I go for the Shadow Sneak here, turn into a Ghost type real quick. It really doesn't make too much of a difference because I don't get very much damage, but he ends up knocking me out with another Moonblast here. So Typhlosion is at full health, and there's no Stealth Rock up. So I know that Eruption is 100% my play here, and I'm pretty sure it 2-hit KOs this Clefable. If it decides to hit me with an attack, it just has Moonblast, and I can definitely take that and still be in range to where Eruption still does enough damage to, I believe, knock out the rest of their team. So I go for the Eruption here, and that is going to do a huge amount of damage to Clefable. You love to see it. Knock it to red. Oh, it actually ends up going for the Thunderbolt, where that still knocks me to the point where I believe Eruption is still a better option against Flamethrower here. If you don't know, Eruption works based off of how much total HP you have in terms of damage. So I go for the Eruption again, and that finally takes out the Clefable. Amazing to see this little bastard go down. And now they are down to 2 Pokemon. One being a Scizor, one is this asshole Rotom, who is in red health. Of course, I am Choice Scarf, so I outspeed. And not much your washing machine can do here, boy. Eruption takes care of it, and that is going to be a dead Rotom. Now, all they got left is going to be that Scizor, and I was really just conserving my Typhlosion for that Scizor. So it's all kind of come down pretty much how it was supposed to in the end. It was a little bit of an unconventional way, but in comes the Scizor. And as you're going to see here, they actually don't give me the satisfaction of killing the Scizor as they just run. But the NU boys did it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. NU Pokemon are superior, and they should be treated as such. Let's go. Really fun match. I enjoyed using this team. It's definitely, pretty scary against, when 90% of the people you battle use mons like that. But the NU squad did it. Thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button on the video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.